Of Department of Catering Science and Hotel Management, Dr.SNS Rajalakshmi College of Arts and Science, I take this opportunity to welcome the management team of our institution and our principal, Dr. Prem Nazir sir. I am pleased to welcome our eminent speakers, Dr. Rosalind Govinda and Dr. Salindran from renowned African institutions, Durban University of Technology and Valletta Sodo University. I also welcome all the participants from various backgrounds and institutions to this webinar on Lockdown Stress Busters, Retrain Your Brain. It's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to all participants. I would like to start. Robert Collier's famous quote that success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. In the statement, I'm honored to introduce the first speaker of today's webinar session, Dr. Rosalind Govinda. He acts as an academic development practitioner in Durban University of Technology. To highlight the international experiences of Dr. Rosalind, Doctor is one of the technical committee of Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering and Information Communication Technology and Society Conferences. And ma'am also an associate member of ICT Learning Center for Knowledge Building, the University of Sydney. And I'm also a reviewer of Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers and Information Communication Technology and Society. At South African level, ma'am possesses more than 10 positions in number of academic institutions. Dr. Rosalind published and presented more than 25 research articles and guiding number of research scholars. To add further in her crown, Doctor also owns the position of chairperson of Gender Forum in Durban University. And I'm sure that your presence adds a unique flavor to the session, ma'am. With no more delay, I invite Dr. Rosalind to present her viewpoints on today's topic, Lockdown Stress Busters, Retrain Your Brain. Ma'am, this session is yours.
Good morning, dear colleagues. I would like to extend my appreciation to the principal, Dr. Nazir sir, and to the head of department and convener of the webinar, Dr. Tilakavati Thangabel. Thank you, ma'am, for the invite to this webinar. It is an honor to also share this platform with the esteemed Dr. Salindran. Thank you, sir. I live in sunny Durban, also known as the playground of South Africa, where most South African Indians live. In South Africa, we are on lockdown as well, and it's day number 61. I know that in India, it is quite hot, and it's about 11 o'clock. It's 7:30 in South Africa, and it's quite chilly because we are approaching winter. I am married. A little bit about myself, so you know who is this person speaking to you as well. I am married to Dr. Jezreel Govinda, and I have 2 children. My daughter Simone teaches English in South Korea, and my son Jordash Sheridan is married to Ivana, and he's a manager at a tech store. So yes, I am experiencing the empty nest syndrome. I work as an academic development practitioner, as Tilaga has said, at the Durban University of Technology, and I work with staff, with students, and with the curriculum. And I must say that during the lockdown, it's been a very, very exciting time for me as well. Working remotely, working at home, it's been an exciting and very interesting time. I am also the chairperson of the Gender Forum at the Durban University of Technology. And as the Gender Forum, we strive towards gender equity through transformative thinking and action. The global pandemic of COVID-19 has created in people a feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. Many are in a state of panic as stories of doom and gloom abound. And I'm sure you agree with me that each time you listen to the news, you are shocked at the increasing number of people that are contracting COVID-19 and the increasing number of people that are also dying. many are feeling the pressure of trying to work at home by being quarantined and still expect to deliver at home and respond to work-related tasks. I read an article yesterday that said that we're not working from home, we're working in home. So that means we're working together with all the pressures, cooking, cleaning, taking care of elderly parents, our pets, all the chores, and also trying to cope with work pressures as well. And I'm sure you agree, you've been attending lots and lots of webinars and online meetings, and we have also got work deadlines, and all of this can make one feeling stressed and overwhelmed. And I'm so glad that you've taken time today, time for yourself, and I think it's very important. I mean, we attend lots of professional development workshops, but it's also important to focus on the self and how do we take care of the self. And during this pandemic, many people can become physically and emotionally drained. And it's important to remind ourselves about the importance of maintaining a positive mindset amidst this pandemic. So, Tinu, if you can please start my slides. So before the emergence of COVID-19, anxiety disorders already ranked as one of the most common mental health problems globally. According to the University of Oxford, anxiety disorders is the most widespread of mental health disorders. And this has impacted 284 million people in 2017 worldwide. And this is quite shocking statistics. The Gender Forum at the Durban University of Technology has hosted several webinars on self-care during this lockdown because we believed as the Gender Forum that we needed to reach the colleagues at our university. And we found that many people were feeling lonely, depressed, anxious, and fearful. So COVID-19 has also shown us there's lots of things that are happening in our lives, and how are we responding to these challenges? So we have to use, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, we have to use this pandemic as an opportunity to change the way we think and behave. And this will have long-lasting benefits on our physical and emotional well-being. There is a scripture that says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I think it's important for me, when I was asked to present, I was thinking, what can I speak about? And this really dropped into my spirit, that we need to start changing the way we think, because I believe that when we change the way we think, we will transform our lives. And hence, my subtopic for today, renewing our minds, transforming our lives. I believe that everything is linked to our minds, and it controls what we say and do. And this, ladies and gentlemen, has a ripple effect on our emotional and physical well-being and those around us. Slide 2, please. When we talk about the mind, we're looking at the inner world. So the mind is the inner world. You are living simultaneously two worlds, two realities. The inner reality of your thoughts, emotions, and attitudes, and the outer reality of people, places, things, and events. And because we failed to separate these inner and outer worlds, we allow ourselves to be dominated by the outer world of appearances, and we use the inner world as a mirror. So what's happening in the outer world, dear colleagues? It is the fear at the moment, it's COVID-19, fear of the unknown virus, increasing numbers of infections globally, death, people are panicking, and so forth. And we should not allow ourselves to be consumed by fear and disrupt the inner world, which is our mind. Yes, it is normal to be concerned. And I know lots of us are feeling stress. These are normal feelings. But we should not allow what's happening on the outside to influence what's happening on the inside. We all live very, very busy lives. And I know lots of you, it's after 11 now in India, so you've been rushing around, trying to get your children sorted out, trying to get breakfast going for everyone, trying to see that everyone is settled. And it's been quite a challenging time as well. And we are all so busy. We're taking care of our families, we are shopping for essentials, we're working from home, our family needs us. And what has happened to us is that we are living unconsciously. We have stopped becoming aware of our minds, what it fears, what it needs, and what it says to ourselves. So I think it's important now to just pause and to just be still and take a deep breath in as you get ready to listen to this presentation as well. Dear colleagues, we are responsible for our emotional well-being. We create our reality through what we are thinking. Dr. Caroline Leaf, she works with brain, the development of the brain and working with people. She's a psychologist. She says that when you direct your mind, you change your brain and change your life. And that's what we're talking about today. We cannot change what's happening on the outside. We cannot change what's happening in the world. We cannot change what's happening in terms of COVID-19, but we can change what's happening on the inside. Kehoe says, your mind is like a garden which can be cultivated or neglected, and you are its master gardener. You cultivate this garden. You can ignore it or let it develop whatever way you like, but make no mistake, you will reap the harvest of your work or neglect. Slide 3, please. So I'm sure you all heard the saying, love others as you love yourself. Dear colleagues, we cannot love others if we don't love ourselves. And I know lots of us, we put ourselves last for everything. We take care of our families, we take care of everybody around us, and we leave ourselves for the last. So when we are going traveling, and I hope that very soon after COVID-19, that we will have a chance to travel again. When we're on a plane, we are told, in a case of an emergency, first put the mask on yourself before taking care of someone else. And this, my dear colleagues, it's the same in life. Welcome to the colleagues who've just joined. So it's the same in life. We need to take care of ourselves first before we can take care of others. And I like this quote by Audre Lorde. It says, I've come to believe that caring for myself is not self-indulgent. Caring for myself is an act of survival. So when we talk about this care of the self, we're not only talking about the external caring of the self. And I know that the other webinars are focused on nutrition, I did attend yesterday's webinar, and they spoke about nutrition, but it's also important to take care of the mind as well. And the other quote says, take care of yourself first, or you will have nothing left to give to others. Self-care is not selfishness. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. The next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit today about developing an attitude of gratitude. And Ram Dass says, when I look back on the suffering in my life, this may sound really strange, but I see it now as a gift. I would never have asked for a second. I hated it while it was happening, and I protested as loudly as I could. But suffering happened anyway. Now, in retrospect, I see the way it deepened my being immeasurably. And yes, my dear colleagues, we do go through suffering, we do go through pain. In 2008, I was very, very sick. And I found myself being alienated by lots of people because I was sick, and people were also scared because I might be infectious as well. Yes, the attitude of gratitude. We're talking about the attitude of gratitude. So as I said, in 2008, I did become very sick, and it also allowed me to think about my life and to appreciate everything that I had in my life. And I appreciate today my health. I appreciate my family. I appreciate everything in my life. So gratitude is about being thankful and appreciative of everything in our lives, even though our circumstances may not be the best, but we can be grateful. And I remember seeing a quote which said that there's someone out there who wishes that they lived in the house that you lived in, and they wish that they drove the car that you drive, and they wish that they could eat the food that you have. So we should all be grateful, and when we become grateful, it also allows us to develop, you will see the benefits of gratitude. It has innumerous benefits. So can I please have the next slide? Thank you. So what are the benefits of practicing gratitude? The next slide, please. The evidence of practicing gratitude, and research has shown that these are some of the evidence. It's the previous slide, please, Tino. Gratitude facilitates contentment. When we practice gratitude, it's one of the most reliable methods for increasing contentment and life satisfaction. It also improves our mood by enhancing feelings of optimism, joy, pleasure, enthusiasm, and other positive emotions. Gratitude also reduces anxiety and depression. So if we're feeling stressed, we need to sit and write down some of the things that we are grateful for. Gratitude also promotes physical health. Yes, my dear colleagues, studies have shown that gratitude helps to lower blood pressure, strengthens the immune system, reduces symptoms of illness, and makes us less bothered by aches and pains. We are not saying that the aches and pains go away, but we become less bothered by them because we become grateful for the other things that are going good in our lives. Gratitude also allows us to sleep better. So when we go to bed and when we are grateful, we don't toss and turn. We can have a very, very good sleep. So instead of counting sheep, maybe we should count our blessings. What are we grateful for? Gratitude also strengthens relationships. It makes us closer and more connected to our friends and our families. When partners express gratitude to each other, they become more satisfied in the relationship. When we express gratitude to our children, we are teaching them something that is very valuable. Gratitude also enhances empathy and reduces aggression. When we practice gratefulness, it allows us to express empathy and understanding. It allows us to become better people, and others will also want to be around us. Gratitude is also very, very good for our mental health. So I think it's time to just take a pause, dear colleagues, and think about 3 things that you are grateful for today. What are the 3 things that you are grateful for today? And I think it's important that we take a few minutes every day, or at least once a week, and write down these 3 things, 3 to 5 things that we are grateful for. What are we grateful for in our lives? Next slide, please. So a person that did not allow his outer world to affect his inner world. It's the previous slide, So Nick Vujicic is New York Times best-selling author. He is an international speaker, and he is an entrepreneur. The next slide, please, Tinu. So as I said, Nick Vujicic is a person that did not allow the outer world to affect his inner world. The previous slide, please. So Nick was born in Australia in 1980 without limbs for no medical reason. Nick Vujicic knew from an early age that he was. So the previous slide, will show you that he has a family with 4 children. It wasn't much later, after overcoming ignorance and discrimination, that now he's built what he calls a ridiculously life. When he realized his mission to use his disability to start conversations that change lives. So Nick Vujicic, as I said, was born without hands and legs, but he did not allow his outer world. He did not allow what is happening, what he physically, disabilities, to influence him. He has founded an international non-profit organization and ministry called Life Without Limbs, which he uses to campaign against bullying. Nick, although he doesn't have limbs, he loves to paint, to swim, to skydive, and to surf. So he's living his life. He's doing everything that he loves. He's also published several books, and he's also published an autobiography called Love Without Limits. And as you can see in this picture, he's married with 4 children. Nick has spoken to over 3,000 at 3,000 different presentations in more than 57 countries. And he's the author of several books. The next slide, please. Allowed his disabilities to affect him. And you can see that he's when you listen to him, so if you have time, please Google him and listen to him. He has not allowed his physical disabilities to affect his life. What are we doing with our lives? What's holding us back? When we have an attitude of gratitude, it helps us to look at the opportunities rather than obstacles. So I've spoken, dear colleagues, about practicing self-care. I've also spoken about how we develop an attitude of gratitude. And now I want to talk briefly about mindfulness. What exactly is mindfulness and how we can recognize it and reap its many benefits? And what happens when we stop meditating? For lots of us, especially in the modern world, when we get out of the meditation, Tilaga, the slides are doing its own thing on the screen. Thank you so much. So when we get out of that meditation, we find that our state of mind.
Is it okay?
Yes. The previous slide, please. So as I was saying, that when we meditate, we are in this temporary state of mind. And sometimes when we get out of meditation, we kind of lose the state of mind. So mindfulness is rather a way of living. When we remember to step back and to be present in the moment. And how many of us, because we're so busy, we don't live in the moment. When we're eating our cereal, we're not even focusing on the taste. We're always rushing. We're rushing and we're eating our food. We rush through life and we don't live in the moment. And I think this is so important, dear colleagues, that we live in the moment and we develop mindfulness. So mindfulness does not eliminate stress or other difficulties. Yes, we will experience all of these things. But what happens when we are mindful is that we become aware of unpleasant thoughts and emotions that arise because of challenging situations. And we have more choice in how we handle them. And when we are mindful, we will respond in a more calm and empathetic manner. If we are stressed, we will respond in a very stressful way. And you know that you will also get a reaction from those you speak to and from the environment. So meditation is the training ground for learning mindfulness. At first, we meditate to become familiar with the here and now for a limited period of time. It is very important to remain still for at least 5 to 10 minutes a day when we clear our minds. And I think it's very important, especially with all these online webinars, online meetings, work and home challenges. We need to take time for ourselves. And over time, we will find that as we practice mindfulness, we will develop the ability to be present throughout the day, every day. So it's very important, the last point there on the PowerPoint, it says that when we practice mindfulness, it is a personal and internal shift. You will find that you will only need as much help and knowledge as you think you do. When we start to live fully in the here and now and accepting just the way it is. So it's very, very important that we make this internal and personal shift. Next slide, please. So there are 8 meditation techniques that we can use to cultivate mindfulness. Thank you. The next slide, please. So I've just focused on 8. There are more. So one of the things, and I know some of you are practicing this, but it's a reminder as well that we can cultivate mindfulness. Especially we're so busy with college work and whatever is happening now in the online space and stresses of life. The previous slide, please. So focused attention is one of the methods we can use to cultivate mindfulness. Likely the most common form of meditation is focused attention. So this technique uses our breath to anchor the mind and to maintain awareness. So I think lots of us, it's easier for us to do. Tilaga, yes, this is the correct slide. Thank you, Tilaga. So this is to focus on our breathing and breathing in deeply and breathing out. This is something that most of us can do wherever we are, whether we're in a meeting, even now, as you're sitting and listening to me, take some time to breathe in and breathe out and use this time as well. The second one is body scan. This technique allows us to connect with the body, scanning your body from head to toe and becoming aware of any discomfort, sensations, or aches that exist. This will also show us whether we're stressed. I know some of us, when we're stressed, we feel it in our neck as well. Our neck gets tight, our shoulders, and we need to be in tune with our body. The third method or a technique is noting. This is a mindfulness technique in which you note a particular thought or feeling when you become distracted during meditation. And I know some of us, when we are meditating, we have all of these thoughts. So sometimes what I do is I have a little notepad next to me and I write down these things. Even in my prayer time, if I'm trying to pray and I have all of these things coming into my head, I write it down. So we can note those feelings and thoughts that come into our mind as we meditate. This practice of noting helps create space and learn more about our habits, tendencies, and conditioning. The fourth technique is loving kindness. Instead of focusing on the breath, this technique focuses on the image of different people that we know. It can be people we know, people we don't, people we like, people we don't like. And as we think about these people, we send good wishes to them. And when we do this, this is a ripple effect on us. And we start to let go of unhappy feelings. And I know that there are people that rub us the wrong way, that make us upset and so forth. But when we are in the space of mindfulness, we can start letting go of our feelings towards these people and these negative situations. The fifth technique is skillful compassion. It's similar to loving kindness and meditation technique. This involves focusing on the person you know and love and paying attention to the sensations arising from your heart. The sixth technique is visualization. This technique uses visualization to focus on a person or something more abstract to hold attention. The idea here is that the familiar image will help create and maintain a relaxed focus. The seventh technique is resting awareness. Rather than focusing on the breath or visualization, this technique involves letting the mind rest. Thoughts enter, but instead of distracting us and pulling us away from the present moment, they simply leave. This requires lots and lots of practice. So it will take time as you cultivate this mindfulness technique. And the last technique is reflection. For this technique, you ask yourself a question. For example, what are you most grateful for? So by asking yourself the question in the second person, you, what are you most grateful for? It will discourage the intellectual mind from answering. And you need to be aware of the feelings, not the thoughts that arise when you focus on the question. So whatever technique you use, dear colleagues, know that experiencing moments of mindfulness during meditation is a great step. And I think these are important things to develop ourselves so we can deal with the stresses throughout our day. The next slide, please. So I've spoken about self-care. I've shared about developing an attitude of gratitude. I've also shared some techniques about mindfulness. And now let's share something about self-care affirmations. Bryce Marden says, the possibilities of thought training are infinite, its consequences eternal, and yet few of us take pains to direct their thinking into channels that will do them good, but instead leave it all to chance. Affirmations are probably the easiest and simplest technique to influence the mind, the conscious mind. Remember, it's important to say these things to yourself. Affirmations are simple statements repeated to yourself silently or loud, whatever's practical to you at the moment. So when you get up, you should say something good to yourself. You can do it anywhere. When you get up, when you're lying down in your bed, taking a shower, driving, waiting for a meeting to start. And I know we've been having lots and lots of meetings. So when you say these affirmations, you influence your thoughts, thus influencing your mind, and thus renewing your mind and transforming your life. So some of the affirmations that I put up here is, I take care of the world when I take care of myself. So this is very important, that you need to take care of yourself. This is an important affirmation. I can do all things that I set my mind to do. There are times when we feel that we cannot do something, and this affirmation is important. I treat myself with compassion is another affirmation that you can say to yourself. I believe in who I am. I cherish the time I take to refill. And there's lots of affirmations that you can add. You can write down anything and repeat this to yourself. And it's important because it builds ourselves up. We need to take care of ourselves. The last slide, please. The next slide, please. Tilaga or Tino. So I want to end with this last slide, which says, renew your mind, transform your life. Dear colleague, your mind is like a garden, which can be cultivated or neglected. And you, dear colleagues, are its master gardener. You cultivate this garden, or you can ignore it and let it develop whatever way it will. But make no mistake, you will reap the harvest of your work or neglect. So, dear colleagues, I've tried to just bring a few thoughts together to show us the importance of taking care of the mind, because the mind directs our lives. And we cannot, as I said before, we don't have control over the outside world, but we do have control over what's happening in our minds. So with that, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for this invite as well. And I pray that you are blessed and that we all overcome. Thank you so much.